Finn. What's up with the soup thingy? What's up with the soup thingy? Do you want soup? What do you think? Chicken or beef? You want soup? I don't have any soup for you. Hi, welcome. Finn and I decided to make beef stew using ground beef. We are making this stew in just a big pot on top of the stove. You will need just a few ingredients to make a healthy meal for your dog. To start out with, you're going to need 6 pounds of ground beef, at least 90% lean. Here I'm using 93% lean. It's important to use lean meat when making homemade dog food. So into the pot with your ground meat. Beef is an excellent source of protein for your dog. Beef is high in iron, B vitamins, and minerals. In many commercial dog foods, the meat has been cooked so long and under such high temperatures that it no longer has any nutritional value. To compensate for the vitamin loss, synthetic vitamins are added at the end of the manufacturing process. Next, we're going to add 4.8 ounces of liver, and you can use beef, pork, or chicken liver. Here, this liver I have is frozen. That's okay to throw it into the pot. Then we'll add 1 cup of blueberries. You can use fresh or frozen. Next, we'll add 4.8 ounces of butternut squash. Next, we're going to add 9.6 ounces of broccoli. If you've purchased a 10-ounce bag of broccoli, you can add the extra. It would be okay. If your pet is a finicky eater, you might want to chop the broccoli up into smaller pieces. Broccoli is an excellent vegetable to feed your dog. It's full of antioxidants. It may prevent heart disease and certain types of cancer. Next, we'll add 3 tablespoons of dry basil or 1 handful of chopped fresh basil. Basil is good for dogs and humans alike. It is said to have detoxifying properties and fight inflammation in the body. We need to add 4 to 6 cups of water to the stew, and that depends on how you like your stew. If you like it more liquid or you might like it thicker. I usually put the whole 6 cups in. As for the rest of the ingredients, we're going to wait till after the stew has finished cooking to add the eggs and flax seeds and the supplements. Earlier in the video, we added liver, blueberries, and butternut squash, and I'd like to tell you how nutritious they are for your pet. Liver is one of the most nutritionally dense foods on the planet. It is extremely good for your dog, and it supplies them with iron, riboflavin, vitamin B12, vitamin A, and copper. Blueberries contain fiber, vitamin C, vitamin K, manganese, and they are supposed to prevent cancer. And butternut squash has beta-carotene, vitamins C and E, and it's supposed to help reduce inflammation. You'll want to cook your soup on medium-high heat, stirring occasionally until all meat is brown and the vegetables are tender. When your meat is finished cooking, you can turn off the heat. Now you're ready to add the eggs. You will add 6 eggs, slightly beaten, and if you have organic eggs, you can save 3 shells to add into the stew. Just pour your whisked eggs into the stew and stir. It'll be hot enough to cook the eggs. Eggs are a complete protein with all 9 amino acids. They contain vitamin D, vitamin E, vitamin B6, calcium, and zinc. As I stir, you can see the bits of egg that have cooked in the stew. If you notice any large chunks of liver, you'll want to break them up so your dog gets a little bit with each meal. We will now add either 3 eggshells crushed or eggshell powder to the stew. If you're using the shells from the eggs you've used in this recipe, simply wash them off, put them in a plastic bag, and crush them with your fingers. They are a little sharp, so you may want to use a rolling pin or a little hammer to crush them up. They don't have to be fine dust, they just have to be crushed a bit, and it's okay to leave the membrane on the eggs. If you do want to use your own organic eggs and turn them into a fine dusty powder, you can allow them to dry out, crush them, and put them through a coffee grinder. You'll have to use a new coffee grinder because you don't want any caffeine to be left in the filter. So you can definitely do that and get a fine powder with your own eggs. If you've purchased eggshell powder, you'll want to follow the directions on the back of the container for how much to add. The directions will usually tell you to use so many scoops per pound of meat. A healthy dog diet must contain calcium. Eggshells contain a high amount of calcium, so we'll put them in the stew. Eggshell powder is very dry and light, so it may take you a few minutes to stir it into the stew. Now we'll add our 6 tablespoons of ground flax seeds. Flax seeds provide fiber and omega-3 fatty acids. Wild dogs get their fiber mostly through fur and feathers, while domestic dogs get most of their fiber through fruits, vegetables, nuts, and seeds. And our last ingredient is our iodine. You'll want to add 1,000 micrograms of iodine. This is not very much, but it's definitely needed. Iodine is very important in your dog's diet. Powdered iodine or powdered kelp powder can be purchased online or at a vitamin shop. It usually comes with a little scoop so you can measure it accurately. If you don't like large vegetables in your stew or you don't think your dog will eat them, you can cut them really small before you start cooking them, or you can use a stick blender to puree the food. Well, now that the stew is finished, it's time for a taste test. If you've never given your dog homemade dog food before, you might want to start out with a small portion. Finn eats homemade dog food all the time, so I'm going to give him a big old scoop. I normally wait for the food to cool and I give it a big old squirt of omega-3 oils. They're very good for your dog. So here we go. Let's see if Finn likes the food.
Go.
Oh, Stella wants the food, but she knows Finn won't be happy if she grabs a bite. So this stew makes about 22 1-cup servings, so unless you have a whole lot of dogs, you'll need to store it. I like to use plastic containers and put them in my freezer. This stew will keep 3 to 5 days in the refrigerator and about 6 months in the freezer. Remember to feed your dog a variety of meats and vegetables each week so they get all the nutrients they need. As always, thank you for watching this video. Please like, comment, and subscribe.
Get that ball, Benny. Get that ball.